Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Inner Spark, the place where stories of courage, hope, and resilience light the path forward. Today's story is about Henry, an orphan boy whose life was filled with pain, rejection, and struggle. This is the story of Henry, a boy abandoned by fate but lifted by his own determination. His journey proves that even the darkest beginnings can create the brightest futures. Henry's story began in a small orphanage where loneliness was his closest companion. He never knew the warmth of a mother's hug or a father's guidance, only the cold stares of strangers who pitied or ignored him. When he turned 15, he left the orphanage with nothing but a torn bag and a few coins in his pocket. His first job was a local bakery, scrubbing pans for scraps of food. But one day, after a tray of bread burned while he was distracted, the owner shouted, "You'll never be worth anything," and threw him out. That insult cut deep, but Henry decided he would never let other people's words define him. The first change came when he collapsed from exhaustion outside a small workshop. The owner, an old carpenter named Mr. Thompson, found him and offered him work in exchange for food and shelter. Henry began sweeping floors, but his curiosity soon drove him to learn the craft. Night after night, he practiced with leftover wood until he could shape tables and chairs on his own. Mr. Thompson noticed Henry's dedication and treated him like a son. For the first time, Henry felt he belonged somewhere. But just when life seemed brighter, tragedy struck, Mr. Thompson passed away, and the workshop was sold, leaving Henry back on the streets. The boy who had finally found a home was once again abandoned. The second change happened when Henry, desperate and homeless, stumbled upon a library to escape the rain. He had never read much before, but the books became his new teachers. He devoured everything from history to business, learning lessons that schools had denied him. The librarian, impressed by Henry's hunger for knowledge, encouraged him to apply for a local apprenticeship program. Against all odds, Henry was accepted. While others mocked him as the orphan boy with no future, he worked harder than anyone else, proving himself capable of more than anyone expected. Years passed, and Henry slowly built a life with skill and discipline. He saved money, started small projects, and gained respect for his craftsmanship. But the third and most powerful change came when a wealthy businessman visited one of Henry's construction sites. After watching Henry work, the man asked about his past. When Henry mentioned the orphanage, the businessman grew silent, then revealed the truth. Henry's parents had died in an accident, and in the chaos of those years, Henry had been left in the orphanage with no record of his family. In that moment, Henry realized he had not been abandoned by choice. He had been a child of tragedy, not rejection. But what mattered most was not the truth of his past, but the man he had become despite it. Henry took that revelation as a reminder. He was not defined by his losses, but by his strength to rise above them. With time, he built his own company, employing hundreds of people, many of them orphans like himself. He returned to the very orphanage where his life began and rebuilt it into a place filled with books, training, and opportunities. The boy who once begged for scraps had become the man who gave hope to others. Henry's journey shows us that every setback can carry within it the seed of a greater comeback. Insults, losses, and even loneliness couldn't stop him because he chose not to break. Friends, remember this. Your story may begin in pain, but with courage and determination, you can write a future filled with strength and purpose. And if Henry's journey inspired you today, don't forget to like, share, and comment your thoughts below. And make sure you subscribe to Inner Spark for more motivational stories that remind you, no matter how dark your past, the light of your future is always in your hands.